Well, good evening. Wow, you have perfect timing. We're just about to have some hot dogs with some friends. Please come join us. Afterwards, we're gonna talk about the notion of I can't and how so many people with disabilities and people in general let that thought stop them from going after what they want. I know I did. By the sound of the music, I'm thinking our guests are actually here, so cover your ears because the song is copyrighted and I don't want to get sued. We should probably head downstairs. Hey, what are you guys doing here? Eh? So don't make fun of me, but my hot dog is pitiful. I completely messed with the ketchup twice and couldn't get any of the ingredients in my hot dog, so you know what? We're just gonna go for it. Yeah, it's good this way, and I'm gonna try mustard too. So it'll be good. It'll be great. I know. Don't even say anything. I know my hot dog was terrible. The bun broke, and then everything after that just went downhill because none of the ingredients stayed in. But we have more important things to talk about. Now, like I said in my intro, today we're gonna talk about thinking that you can't do something and using your, and I think the best way I can explain it is using your disability as an excuse, because that's basically what you're doing, and that's what I used to do all the time and still do from time to time. Now I'm gonna start from the beginning, from my own experience. Even when I was little, I knew that academically I was gonna be fine, right? And I didn't necessarily understand why I couldn't do some things. Obviously, I knew there was something wrong with my legs, but I didn't quite grasp why. In my head, it didn't seem anything out of the ordinary because ever since I was little, I knew that I walked a little bit different, but I didn't understand. And it wasn't until around elementary, like the end of elementary, that I was actually diagnosed with cerebral palsy. The only thing I knew when I was younger was that for some reason, I couldn't run around with the other kids. And during recess, it was especially hard because, I couldn't really do anything. So my go-to place was always the swings. But even that, I couldn't even propel myself with my feet. So most of the time, I just swayed and hoped that there was some type of a breeze. Some days other kids would come hang out with me and push me, so that was actually a really good time, I remember. And even when I played tag with them, they would let me. Obviously I couldn't catch up to them, so when it was my turn, they would let me catch up to them, pretended they were running, but they weren't really. But even though they did that, to include me and be kind, I still knew that they weren't really trying to run or anything, so for some reason that made me feel like crap. And that was basically how I started to slowly notice that I wasn't gonna be able to do as much as I would want. Outside of school, and being Latino, going to weddings and quinceañeras constantly, I was basically always in the table with my parents, just sitting there because I couldn't run around or I couldn't dance when I got older. So to this day, when I get invited, for the most part, I sit at the table, which is I've learned to accept. Now that I have gotten older, though, I have kind of shed the fear that I used to have about being judged or looked at. So once in a while, or when I'm convinced, when my friends drag me out, I do go and dance a little bit, and I do have a blast. But like I said, I'm not stupid, and I know I don't look like everybody else. So my goal is to actually learn how to dance some serious cumbia or bachata or banda, but really good. So if any of you out there are dance instructors, just give me a call. But anyway, going back again. So out of elementary and into middle school, things started to get a little bit worse for me as far as my self-esteem because that's when people started playing sports, and it's something that I really wanted to do but couldn't. I remember in 6th grade, I had my first PE class, and I was terrified. 1, because it was all about physical activity, and 2, because it was kind of intermixed, so it wasn't just my classmates that I had grown up with, but it was mixed with, the older kids too, much more athletic kids that didn't even know me. The fact that the older kids didn't know me is what terrified me the most, because I tend to depend on people to get to know my personality, to be able to look past my disability, if that makes sense. Because I know that once they get to know me, they'll see that, I don't let my disability guide my life. Now, the teacher in that class had one rule, and his one rule in the class was that you couldn't say I can't at all. I remember thinking in my head, oh crap, because at that time saying I can't had become kind of my go-to phrase to say to everything. And sure enough, it proved impossible for me not to say it at first. And the good thing about the teacher was that he wasn't afraid to call me out on it and basically treat me like everybody else. So again, I was like, crap, I'm not going to be able to get away with it anymore. Every time I would try to say I can't, he would promptly come over and be like, why can't you? And of course, I always had some excuse, but then he always had kind of a solution for my excuse. He would teach me alternate ways to do a certain type of exercise. When we played kickball, he would have somebody else kick for me because weirdly enough, I love to run in my own way. So he would have someone kick for me and me run around the bases. Or when we played dodgeball, he would let me go, in the beginning, he would let me go like halfway in the mark so I didn't have to like run, because obviously I wasn't going to beat everyone for the ball, so he would let me grab a ball first and then start playing. Or in baseball, he would have somebody run for me. So he always made it a point to show me that there was a way that I could get things done. That's actually how I started to fall in love with exercise, because it would challenge me. I remember every time we had cardio day, I loved it because, doing push-ups and all that stuff, it was great for me because I'm like, yes, I'm getting stronger. And then with his alternative ways, I was actually able to participate. So I was always pumped for gym class. I still remember specifically one day, it was cardio day, I think, and he had all the students wear those elastic bands around their knees, like tying their knees together basically. Obviously not too tight, but just enough so their knees would bend, because I walked with my knees bent, so he wanted them to experience that for themselves. And I thought, like, to this day, that is one of the coolest things, because it was my first experience, like, him trying to show other people kind of my perspective of things, and that was awesome. I actually hadn't even realized how much he had an impact in my life until a couple months ago when I was helping my roommate with one of his assignments. He had to interview me and I started talking about it, and I was like, holy crap, it was kind of just like a epiphany that I had. Now, unfortunately, that was the only year that I had gym class because of scheduling conflicts, and man, I was always so bummed. But ever since then, because of that, I started not to shy away from challenges. And this way of thinking not only started me in the path of changing my perception, but has completely changed the way I look at everything in life, in all aspects of my life, not just my disability. Now I realize that if I hadn't ever changed my way of thinking, then I wouldn't have been able to progress, because in order to progress, we need to change all the negative attitudes that we have about ourselves, and especially if you have a disability. Thinking in this way protects us from failure and looking dumb. I know that's why I used to say it all the time, because that was my biggest fear when I was younger. So if my story is ringing any bells and you're tired of it, here's what you can do. The first step is to erase I can't from your vocabulary. You don't need it, it only slows you down. Now, if you're anything like me, it's not going to happen overnight. I was lucky because I had the teacher's help to keep me accountable and the extra work that I had to do every time I said it. If you have to, put some penalties on yourself. Do 10 push-ups every time you catch yourself saying it, or put a quarter in the swear jar. I don't know, whatever works for you to keep yourself accountable, and you'll see, with time, you'll either have huge biceps, start a savings account, and stop saying it as well. Once those words are out of your vocabulary, the second step is to choose a negative belief that you want to change or that you keep saying and turn it into a positive. For example, losing weight. If you're constantly saying, oh, I can't seem to lose weight, or I've tried going to the gym, I've tried eating healthy, but it's not happening, you need to change your train of thought. Accept the fact that it didn't work for you in the past and really commit yourself to making it work this time. So maybe try saying, oh, I will lose 5 pounds. And after that, the third step is to burn it into your brain. Write it down every day, write it down on a wall, well, maybe not on a wall, but maybe somewhere less permanent. On a piece of paper, stick it on the wall, somewhere you will always see it. Have it as a constant reminder until it's in your brain that you're going to lose those 5 pounds. Now the next step is to make small incremental changes towards your goal. So maybe start off by joining a Facebook group all about fitness. Maybe go back to the gym and then throw out your junk food. Surround yourself by like-minded people because that'll reinforce what you're trying to achieve. A lot of times people say, well, I've tried all that and it still didn't work. But the big thing is that you need to believe it intrinsically that it is going to happen, or else it's not. The reason politics and religion are such touchy subjects is because people really believe in them deeply. Think about everyone that's done something terrible in the name of religion or in politics. In their mind, they're doing the right thing. That's what they believe. Once your belief is that strong that you just know that you're not going to fail, it's time to take action. Like with anything, getting started is the hardest part, but changing the I can't thought is the most important step you can take towards achieving your goal. Our thoughts are influenced by so many outside factors nowadays, but always remember that you have control over what you choose to believe. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be posting every Tuesday and Saturday, so don't forget to click that little bell by the button so you actually get the notifications and never miss one of our talks. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.